Me either.
Yeah. Okay,
Hey, we're
we are
live.
on the air. We are live on YouTube. My name is Gary Buechler. This is the Nerdrotic podcast, and I am with my good friend and co-host
Dennis Bithoulkas down in foggy San Diego, or not foggy, but cloudy San Diego.
Cloudy. Yeah, it's been pissing rain all day. We need it here in San Francisco, and it's just been, where I was working, it was leaking like a sieve. And somebody bashed in our window last night. So all kinds of fun drama at work that I'm not going to bore you with anymore. We are here to discuss Ash versus Evil Dead, still the best show on television. The season finale aired on, I watched it on Amazon Prime. It's actually not supposed to air till tomorrow, but it's midnight on the East Coast, so they let it go at 9 o'clock, and Dennis and I watch it immediately. And it was not an hour-long episode. It was basically the last two episodes were, I mean, almost messily cut in half, because it starts off the second that, I mean, I almost want to go back, and I think I will. I'm going to go back. I'm going to binge watch this for one, but I really want to see those last two episodes together, because they back to back, and I wish there was a way I could do it without the credits, if they would just flow into each other. I guess I could edit one. I did that with the Doctor Who show, but then
if you use the Stars app, it automatically comes up when the credits start rolling, for the next episode. And so you just click on it and you'll start the next episode.
I'll watch it on Prime and I'll just cut it off. But yeah, I mean,
Prime should do it too.
They did that with a Doctor Who last season, with Doctor Who, the first two episodes, and I went ahead and I downloaded it in the Final Cut Pro, and I recut the first two episodes into one episode, and it's on my Vimeo. It's totally illegal, but I thought it turned out cool. As a matter of fact, I might do that with this episode, and what happens is I'll end up recutting the whole fucking thing, though. Like, I'll put stuff back in order and I'll make it unlike their vision at all. But that's what we editors do. But let's get into the episode. I wrote notes on this one. It was very fast moving. It was very different. I think let's start out with the ending, dude. It was kind of a weird ending.
It was a weird ending. At first, I didn't think it was real.
Yes,
he was, just stuck. I basically kind of thought that maybe he was just getting the ending that he wanted this time, but was tricked into it, instead of, last season where he got the ending that he wanted. He's not
in Jacksonville, and he's moving back to Elk Grove.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the ending he wants. He didn't look super happy at the end. I think that was actually good acting by Bruce Campbell.
He looked suspicious. He did look
everything
suspicious.
looked suspicious, and we even got the Return of the Jedi ghosts of his sister and
Chet and his dad,
and the thumbs up and everything. So maybe they went into this thinking, we're only going to get season 2. There's no way in hell they're going to give us season 3, and that might have gone into it. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but
I think they're already greenlit for season 3. I mean, come on, they're the only reason why Stars is getting so many new, subscribers.
Well, I'm speculating, and I don't know when they officially announced the season 3. It might have been, I think it was before they came out with this season, but I don't think it was during filming.
No, it probably wasn't during filming.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows? But well, it ended with definitely open, and I think the ending credit music, and I was waiting for a stinger, and there was a stinger, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the ending credit music, I think, says everything. This the one thing is,
where it starts tailing off and warping, and
it's like this fun little like carnival music. Then goes, and then like it got creepy, and I'm like, that's what I've been waiting for. And remember, this is jazz. This isn't film auteur, but like for filmmakers, for straight up, film buffs and kids going to film school right there, you should just eat this shit up, the way it's directed, the way it's written. And they just threw that in there, just for us. And they told the story with music. They said, like, don't think this is a happy ending. Ash doesn't get happy endings. I'm going to predict.
Unless he pays for them.
Well, they charge double for that action in this town. So Well, and we have a three-way. We have Ash. I wonder how many times in the series, and it's only 2 seasons and 20 episodes, Ash has referred to a three-way. I want to go back and look into that because
I'm sure it's been more than a few times.
And what we totally failed to do is, you know what? We will do this when we get ready for next season. I'll make Dennis actually do some homework, and we're going to do or this could be a podcast we do later. We can do top 10. Actually, maybe we can do this next week. Is top 10 lines. It could be just a short podcast. Top 10 one-liners in Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Well, we had a good line in this in tonight's episode.
We had so many. Prison rules, huh?
Oh no, my favorite was, when they're making the deal.
Hang on.
And he says, the apocalypse and a side of Kelly for the kids.
Hey, I lost the camera.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, I still see you on, camera. Or your background, at least. Technical difficulties here.
Good thing I'm getting a new camera soon. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I'm going to cut that one out of the edit there. Okay, so what was that line again? I didn't hear it.
The line was the apocalypse and a side of Kelly for the kids.
I like she mentioned that. Well, you're going to get defiled. I didn't hear anything about defilement. It was implied.
It was implied, yeah.
So okay, so we start out. Henrietta is beating the shit out of Ash, like beat him pretty good. Like she is a more powerful Deadite. And then we got the extended head Henrietta, which I'm waiting for that action figure. And it was awesome, that whole battle. And that poor girl that was in the basement with him got it. And then we got the grossest, which I did not think it could be topped, but it was absolutely topped. We got the grossest scene in Ash vs. Evil Dead when Henrietta lactated
into his mouth. Oh my god!
Into Ash's mouth. I was actually my wife was asleep. I screamed and I woke her up and pissed her off. I screamed. I'm like, oh my god! And I couldn't stop watching it, dude. And then, I mean, not that it's worse. But and then they started fighting, and then Ash utters just, I mean, the one-liner is simple, but in the context of the fight, I fucking laughed my ass off. He goes, "Prison rules, huh?" And he fucking kicks her. He kicks her in the vag, right? And then she goes, "Oh, you feel so good inside me." I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, she traps his foot Raimi, between her legs.
You are a twisted man.
Yes,
I like you. Yeah, dude. After like the wholesomeness of working on Spidey, it must be kind of nice to get into, I won't say adult land, but get your hands dirty again, literally. So we had the lactating pus, prison rules. Yeah, it feels so good inside me. Oh, no, the best one is so Ruby meets. So we get to see 80s Ruby. 80s Ruby comes in and Bow. Oh, okay. I'm getting way ahead of myself. So he fights Henrietta. He defeats Henrietta. He gets up, and we see 80s Ruby. And 80s Ruby meets current Ruby. And they don't like each other. And they fight, and 80s Ruby shanks current Ruby. So she basically says, Ash, it's time for you to get the fuck out of here. So Ash and Kelly leave.
Well, before that, Ash actually says the line because he's looking at both rubies. And he goes, hey.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, if there's a three-way, he goes, well, will it be a three-way since both of you are really the same person?
Yeah. Is it technically a three-way? We got our three-way line. And then while Ruby's laying dying, Ash goes, so does this mean I don't owe you that $20 anymore? And she turns around, looks at him and goes, it's 200. Funniest fucking shit ever.
And you know what? I think that I bet you that was ad lib from her.
Totally, dude.
It looked like an ad lib.
God, that was just some funny shit. Goddamn, that was funny. So they leave, and Ash feels like a little twitching in his arm, and his hand's back, and he's like, "Oh!" And this is why we felt so weird about the ending, because Ash got his hand back, and all of a sudden there's some pounding on the trunk, and fucking Pablo comes back.
Yep.
Looking yoked, by the way, like very yoked. And everything seems
writing on his skin.
With still the yeah, that's important. With still the writing on his skin, and they're still in the 80s, by the way, which we're going to bring up later. And they drive off, and Ash, Ash explains to Pablo like Ruby's done, Ruby's dead, and Pablo seems totally like Pablo, like, yeah, it's weird, like I was dead, but now I feel like somebody else, and then it turns out
I remember, but I remember dying,
but I remember dying, and then it seemed way too happy that we were only 15 minutes in, and lo and behold, Ball rips himself out of Pablo's skin.
Well, Kelly actually gives him the book because he goes, well, maybe Ash says if you've had that writing on you, maybe you can read some of the Kandarian and get us back to the future.
Oh yeah, maybe you can speak
Ball
some
was
Sumerian.
waiting for.
Yeah,
and he just grabs the book and he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm not going to bring us back. He goes, we're right where we're going to be. And he rips open himself, and it shows that it's actually that's what Ash calls him. He doesn't call him Ball, he calls him Bill.
Yeah, he goes, Bill, and then we find out that they did kind of a double switcheroo. So as he was killing Ball actually went into Pablo's stomach, and he hid in the dead body. He said it wasn't ideal, but that was it. And then so they end up knocked out. Kelly gets cracked pretty good. They're back in the cabin. And then Ash, basically challenges Bill to mano a mano, to a fight.
No demonic powers.
No demonic powers. And at first, it seems like Bal's going to go through it, and they do a satanic fist pump. They cut each other's hand. They do a satanic fist pump. Then they go into a hilarious fight, which turns into like a pillow fight, kicking each other in the balls. It's and I love the camera on the fist shot where the fist is coming down. There was a lot of good fucking shots in there. But as they're fighting,
I did like the piano scene.
Yes. Oh, and then Bal starts changing forms. Yeah, well, they do a lot of Three Stooges in this episode. Even Henrietta did a whoa, 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 whoa. So Bal changes into Chet, changes into his sister. And then he cuts Ash's hand off again.
New hand,
the new hand that was healthy. It gets cut off. And for a minute, it looked
possessed.
And it was still possessed.
That's the thing that kind of, that's what kind of weirded me out. I'm like, how did the hand get possessed all of a sudden?
Well, because right before that, Ruby was, noticing how sexist it was that these two men were fighting and like leaving Kelly and her to wait for the results. And the bet was basically if Ash wins, then he gets Pablo back, and they can go back to their time. And Bill is banished to hell with Ruby. And the children
and Ruby,
the kids are all born again through the book. And we get to see that little creepy kid again, which was really cool. And then if Bal wins, like they get to take over the earth, and flames rising up to heaven and all that shit. So while they're fighting, Ruby decides it's super sexist, and she changes the rules. So I'm thinking in her changing the rules, it gave Bal his power back, which possesses his hand. That's just what I'm assuming. There was a lot of weirdness. The show kind of went a little away from what it was. And I'm wondering, we could talk about this after our little recap here, but so Bal's obviously cheating, and he's beating the shit out of Ash. And it's Ash gets him at the end, which is pretty funny. He basically asks Bill, and I'm going to call him Bill too.
What Ruby's like in the sack.
What Ruby's like in the sack, and he goes, well, and then he takes Bill's own thumb, because Ruby changed the rules in a lot of ways, and it killed Bill. It killed Bill, and sent him to hell, and sent the cabin to hell too.
To hell.
And
well, I want to know, his dad, was that his real dad that showed up too? Was that actually Lee Majors?
So in the fight with Bal,
because then he turns into a chainsaw.
Yeah, so Lee Majors shows up again.
Weird.
I mean, and it could be like he's just randomly sent by God or somebody, and to help. And he thinks he's fighting Bal.
He's going to tell the secret. Actually,
the secret that we've been wanting to hear, which we don't know yet, by the way, but that was.
He just said you were born, and then he doesn't get any chance to say anything more than that, and he gets drowned.
Well, yeah. At first he says, "I'm you," or something like that, or "I'm," and then he says, "You were born," and then because Ash thinks he's fighting Bal, and he drowns his dad, who,
yeah.
And then Bal walks in, and then his dad turns into the chainsaw, which works miraculously after being submerged in water, which I don't know how that's possible because it's not.
It's a heavenly chainsaw.
It's a heavenly chainsaw. And Bal all of a sudden had his own chainsaw, and then they had a chainsaw.
Well, no, it was the same one. It was the same one he had taken from Ash that he chopped off Ash's hand with.
Okay. Oh, so so that what it's dude.
Yeah.
You do realize that he was taking Excalibur. You know, it's his dad was the Lady of the Lake, and it was a bathtub.
Yes. There's so many different other film references in this. I mean, there's Back to the Future, you know,
reference.
God, there's a couple
more than a reference. They
and
basically said Back to the Future. That's more than a reference.
Well, there's a couple different other horror movies too that they had used.
Sorry, my cough is very strong.
The Gate, you know, the hole in the backyard, the old 80s movie, The Gate.
Yep.
They did some from that. Oh God, I can't remember. There's a couple other things too, but you know, then also the Three Stooges references, Return of the Jedi. I can't remember what else. I mean, there's so many different film references that Raimi was just throwing in here.
He was throwing. I'm surprised he didn't throw in Spider-Man, but that's okay.
He did at some point.
That's okay. I didn't see it, but it's okay. What was weird is the fucking ending. Is and you could tell it was supposed to be weird though. They filmed it weird because Ash doesn't look happy at all. He looks like there's something wrong. And he's not used to this because at the end of all of these, he ends up getting fucked. So he knows it's coming around the corner. And we do get a little.
Kelly had that same look too.
Yeah, she did. And that's why he's all, fuck this, let's party, you know? And he has a really awkward speak in front of his house. So my question is, what time period were they in? How'd they get back? Because they were obviously back because there was Linda.
Well, obviously, you know, Pablo still has the writing on his skin.
Okay,
remember when he came back from hell, he still had the writing on his skin.
So he was in. That's right. Bal explained that Pablo was in hell. So when the cabin got sucked into hell, hell was open. Pablo came out. So they must have gotten back that way. And then 80s Ruby was in the crowd. So that was kind of like and everything's not okay. And then it goes into the credits, plays that weird. It plays like carnival music, and then it goes into like this weird, like it stops, and then we hear a girl. You know, we see the Book of the Dead right next to the.
No, we see where the cabin was. It's now in the now time.
We're in the now time. We see the VW where the professor died. We find out what happened, why that VW was there, and the book, the Necronomicon, is right there, and some random girl picks it up. Now, you know, I think it's a mystery of who the girl is. We'll find out. I think that's probably going to be part of what next season is going to be all about. But I mean, this isn't a show we're supposed to like. This isn't Westworld. We're not going to be breaking down the mystery of Ash versus Evil Dead. I liked last season's ending a little better. I'll say that right now.
This season was so much better than the first. I mean, the first season was great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But this season, just the build up to everything, except for the ending.
Yeah, the very
just
ending
so much better.
I don't know if I call it. I'm not disappointed. I was expecting more. I won't use the word disappointed though, because I mean it's Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I'll go back and watch it. And I bet you if I watch this like I did last, you know what? If you guys haven't done it out there in podcast land, and you're a fan of this show, take the time to binge watch it all in a row because it really is so much better. I mean, it's a 6-hour movie. It's a 6-hour movie. And the continuity in it's amazing. You'd be surprised when you watch a lot of people out there will binge watch shows. You see that like the effed up continuity, especially in like CW shows. They're horrible at it. When they take big breaks, you can see like.
Well, it's because they have too many writers.
And then I'm talking about clothing and hairstyles and stuff like that. They'll have been like something a cliffhang. And you're supposed to be there in the next moment, and somebody's wearing a completely different outfit. And, you know, it's fucking crazy. And there's people paid to do that. Continuity editors, come on. So, okay, so do you think this season was better than last season?
And it's except for the ending, yes.
Yeah, I do too. Another great line I just saw in my notes: "Shoot first, ask questions never."
Never. Yeah.
Never. I like that. You know what? I need to watch because the first part, like last episode, was so freaking great, and our little evil indigestion thing. So, tell me the story behind our little evil indigestion thing and its name.
So, the little guy who, the evil, like went into Ash. Ash stepped on a nail in the cabin. He got infected with evil, and he started regurgitating a little bit, and he put in hot sauce in his mouth and hot water. And he finally got this little foot coming out of his mouth, and he pulled it out, and there's this little evil guy that was on the ground with an eye on his side, on the side of his body, and he's screaming, "Fuck you, Ash! Fuck you!" And Ash creams him with a frying pan. Well, on Facebook, Ash versus Evil Dead, the page that they have, had a little contest, not a contest, but they just said, "What's the name of this little guy?" They're asking fans, what to name them. And so Little Fucker was the one that was leading quite a bit. I said Fuckwad, is what I named him. But someone came up with a brilliant name. They said Gary. And the page guys at Ash versus Evil Dead go, "You know what? That's a great name." And so it started gaining traction, and now it's official. His name is Gary.
It is Gary.
Yeah.
Why?
And he's got your eye color. He's got your eyes.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, Dennis. Fuck you.
He even looks like you a little bit too from the side.
Yeah, from the fucking, it's from my good side. Yeah. He's got penis. He's got a penis for arms. So
he's got a tail too.
He's got a
just
tail.
Like you.
I've always wanted you to. Hey, you want to see it? Well, dude. Dang, it's over. It's another.
I know we got another year.
I mean, like we just ended Westworld. We just ended Ash. What the fuck am I gonna watch? I mean, we've got
Timeless. Go back and start watching Timeless, man.
Yeah, well, I think I was thinking. I don't know. I'll try it, but I was gonna go give Mr. Robot season 2 another go, but I just couldn't get through it, dude. I tried. I was like, and I'm a huge fan of the first season. But I can't get past episode 5, so I'm gonna go and just muscle through it and see if if it rallies. It's we can do a whole podcast on TV Artur, and like how difficult it is, I'm sure it's good. It's just it's just you got to be in a certain mood to watch Mr. Robot. It's not like
you have to. Sometimes it's a slog to get through it, and
yeah. So I don't know what we got. We got Flash, we got Arrow, and they're all taking breaks now. The only thing I've got to look forward to is we got a Doctor Who Christmas special coming up that I'm going to be doing a live podcast for on Christmas Day. Yes, the Nerdrotic podcast will be here for you Christmas Day, because we'll all have been fat and happy from presents and food. And actually, there was our podcast, but the first podcast on this website was me and Indigo doing the Doctor Who Christmas special, Time of the Doctor, the last Matt Smith episode. And we just sat down and did a little half-hour thing and threw it up there. That was almost 3 years ago. We're coming up on a 3-year anniversary, Dennis.
Yes, we are.
And I also wanted to tell you, this is a good time to do some business here, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of news since we're here. I am headed down to San Diego this weekend, so we will be doing a bunch of podcasts. We'll be able to do live stuff, and there is the possibility, if we can get fucking John out of his house, that all three of us could be live together. That would be nice. That would be amazing.
Very cool.
That would be amazing. So I'm making a Southern California trip to go see a football game, to go see the Chargers and the Raiders. I'm not a Raider fan, so it might be the last game of San Diego Chargers in San Diego Stadium that I'm going to see. So I might be very sad, but otherwise. So we got some news. John and I have already discussed Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Wars. You don't want to talk about Star Wars, but we've had a little Web Slayer news.
We did. We first we got a drop of a teaser on Jimmy Kimmel Live for Spider-Man Homecoming. So we actually got to see Spidey. I guess it is his new suit. And the way they started off, the teaser was Happy Hogan is in Peter's room. I guess it's his hotel room is what it was, and handing him off a new suit. And basically, Peter Parker was doing a selfie video is what was going on. So, and he was trying on the new suit, and you see him jump off of the Washington Monument, and he spreads his arms, and we see web wings.
Yes,
on the suit,
and that is a fucking beautiful sight. And it's John Romita web wings. It's not Steve Ditko, which is fine. John Romita's version of Spider-Man is my personal favorite, anyway. And everything about this looks wonderful. We saw the trailer. And Tom Holland is Peter Parker.
He does a great job.
What do you think about them meshing some of the Miles Morales characters and using their, for lack of a better term, their race, and then naming them Spider-Man characters?
I mean, like Ned Leeds.
Why wouldn't they just use the Miles Morales characters' names, unless they're going to bring Miles Morales in later? But the thing is, you're already using the identities of those other characters. So,
bringing in Ned Leeds and then also Liz Allen, because Liz Allen was up on the ladder.
Bringing in those two characters, no matter what the fuck they look like. No, don't. I honestly.
Yeah.
I love that they're digging deep and bringing in Ned Leeds, which could always lead to the Hobgoblin.
We also have the Shocker.
Dude!
I mean, we saw the Shocker.
One of my favorite Spidey villains is the Shocker.
Yeah, so we've got I forget the name of the actor, Bokeem, who I always remember him from The Big Hit, the Mark Wahlberg movie.
Never saw The Big Hit.
Oh, you got to see it if you want to just die laughing. I mean, it's about these hitmen go off and basically they go off on a side mission that's not supposed to be sanctioned by their boss. They don't know about it, and they actually end up kidnapping the boss's daughter by mistake, the big boss's daughter. And then Lou Diamond Phillips does this, and then he sells out Mark Wahlberg for it, blaming him for it, and craziness ensues.
I've never seen it.
Christina Applegate's in it.
I love Christina Applegate. So
it's a great movie.
We got the Shocker,
but yeah, we have
Michael Keaton, and it looks like that the Vulture is using Chitauri tech there.
No, it's actually going to be the Tinkerer.
So the Tinkerer is using the Chitauri tech, and he's making the suits for his group. But apparently, Michael Keaton is the big bad, and apparently he's bad. Like they're not holding back on him. Like he's supposed to be like Heath Ledger Joker bad. We'll see. This is still a Disney movie, so their version of bad might not be as bad. I think that'd be a very interesting way to go. I think you should. I mean, without you can go bad insinuating horrors without showing them, which is almost better in my opinion. Like you don't have to show him killing babies, but you can talk about him killing babies, and that would make him a truly frightening person. And if you're going to go ahead and do the Vulture, which is fine, but you need to you need to make him so effing scary that you don't think about him being in a flying vulture suit. So, which looked pretty good. It looked a lot like the Shattered Dimensions or Dimensions in Time. One of the Spider-Man video games. It looked a lot like that. But it looked very cool, and I love how they're weaving in the Avengers. This at this point, I had a couple comments on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook, that about the diversity thing, which I think is a non-issue, and also about like how they're getting away from the comics. I mean, forget the comics from this point on. I mean, just forget it. Like this is its own. I mean, the new Marvel cinematic logo, which I definitely don't like, and it is them saying, okay, we are now away from the comics. We are going to create our own damn universe, which is pretty comic-like. So, I mean, that's cool. But, I mean, it's a sad day. I mean, they ended the 616, and to me, that's the death of Marvel. That was the death of Marvel. Now, from now on, it's going to be Marvel stories with Marvel characters done by Disney, but we're never going to have, we had a 50-year story that ended, basically. Yep. They ended the 50-year story. They're never going to do a 50-year-long story again. So we're going to get, hopefully, I mean, what DC does now is you get little stories within their very meshy universe that are good. And they're usually the side stories that don't, count. You get the Dark Knight Strikes
according
Back.
To Jeff Johns, I guess. No, Jim Lee, who is now the chief editor of DC.
Talk about
never rebooted. Is what he said. He says DC has never rebooted their universe, supposedly. So all these, Final Crisis and all that kind of bullshit, supposedly all the timelines are still intact.
Who called this, man? I called this 5 years ago. I said they're going to fucking do a reverse crisis, which is going to bring everything back and make everything count again. Fucking thank you. I'm going to high five myself on that one. It's too late.
Well, we were talking about that. Yeah.
It's too fucking late. It's too effing late. You're already, you've, the thing is, what frustrated the hell out of me as a comic shop owner is they kept on sacrificing your loyal reader for that chasing the dragon of the new reader. And it was literally like a heroin addict trying to chase the dragon, trying to get that original high again. You can't do it. All they had to do was continue telling good stories, and the loyal reader would use his word of mouth to bring. That's what worked for years. That's how I read comics. I didn't read Spider-Man from issue number 1. I jumped in. Oh God, I was 6, 7. So it was like issue 1. It was right before Gwen Stacy died. That's when I jumped into Spider-Man. So there was 100 issues.
Yeah, I was 4. I think I was 4. My brother was bringing home comics from the drugstore that he used to work at, because they would throw out like all the old comics, and so he'd bring me back like stacks of these things.
Oh yeah, that's what I would have, like strip covered ones. They'd sell them in rolls at the newsstand for 25 cents, and you get like 5 comics, and I didn't care that I didn't have covers back. I was fucking 6. I didn't care. I could barely understand the reading of it. At 6 years old, you're reading it, but you're not really comprehending and stuff. It was like when I was 10 and 12 when I started like really reading, and that's when Black Cat started coming in. That's when Spectacular Spider-Man was a better title than Amazing, and Black Cat came in. And
we started getting hair in different places and started noticing different things about Black Cat. Right?
Oh yes, definitely. Well, then we had Elektra and Black Cat at the same time. It was Frank Miller and John Byrne and Jean Grey and all that stuff. It was the golden age of the Bronze Age. And we're not going to have that again. It's unfortunate. What really is incredible is the digital sales are up. I don't believe them. I think they're all fake numbers, to be honest with you. But according to digital, they sell hundreds of thousands of digital downloads. I don't believe that for a second. But so the long story short, the movies are separate. They should be separate. They've done enough homage to the comics, and they're still going to base themselves on it. But like you have clean slates like Guardians of the Galaxy out there now, and now you're bringing in Spider-Man. Spider-Man wasn't the first Marvel hero, but you're making Tony as his mentor. I really love that idea. I freaking love that idea. A superhero mentoring
I did like
superhero.
Too, or he's reaching over to go unlock the door. He goes, "No, it's not a hug." He goes, "Let's just open the door for you."
That was awesome. That was such a Tony Stark moment, and he's probably not in it that much. So I think people are freaking out on nothing. And the scene that they're flying together was obviously when they're going to Civil War. So we're going to have a little piece of the movie before Civil War and most of it afterwards. I don't think Iron Man's going to help Spider-Man. I think he might come in because then that would take away from the movie. I don't think.
Yeah, he's not going to help Spider-Man. No.
Well, as I told the person I was talking to on Facebook, I said it's going to be Spider-Man mentoring Tony. And I think here's what I think they're setting up. I think they're setting up another Uncle Ben. I think I am convinced they're going to kill Tony Stark, and at some point in time, and that will be another linchpin, kind of like, when Gwen Stacy died, that was like another moment where Spider-Man had to rise up and be a hero again. It was another Uncle Ben for him.
How about this? I think in Infinity Gauntlet, when they do it, both Cap and Iron Man are both going to eat it.
I don't think they'll kill both. That'd be almost too much. That'd be too much. I think
they say more than one's going to die. More than one hero is going to die in this, and that would make sense. You have the two guys that were on opposite ends of Civil War.
It would be too fucking dark. That would not be good. I can't see the marketing people going for that. I wouldn't go for that. I mean, that would be a very bad move. Killing one of them is totally a great idea. Absolutely. I think it's Tony Stark, but you know what? It could be Captain America, and that's how it went down in Civil War. I was honestly surprised he didn't die in the movie. I thought he was going to die at the end of Civil War. I was convinced. So one of them is dying. I guess they could kill both of them. That would rip me right out of it. I'd go, because then you would be forcing things on me. I'm very interested, very, very, very interested to see how well they do with Captain Marvel. Because they've been putting this thing off and putting it off and putting it off, and it feels like to me like they feel like they have to do it, like more than they want to do it, which is not good.
I don't think they know how to approach it, to tell you the truth. I mean, because honestly, I look at Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers stuff, and I can't think of any storyline that's I like her in. I mean,
she doesn't have a lot of personality. And she's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
but there's nothing that makes her super stand out. Now they could change that and this is how. If the actress puts in a great performance, and it's all hinged on this actress, on how she portrays her, and if she is if she is the Robert Downey Jr. To Captain Marvel as he was to Iron Man, and she's charming and she's got charisma, and she hooks us in, then dude, we're in. We're buying in no matter what. But you know what? I'm gonna I'm not gonna hide what's obvious here. It's a female superhero, and as far as we've come, it's still a tough battle because it's still a boys thing. There's a lot of girls in here, and there's way more than there used to be, and that's a great thing. But they still need to do it in the movies, and I think they're kind of waiting and seeing how Wonder Woman happens, and how that gets played and how that's done. And I'm hoping for the best. I mean, Wonder Woman is the woman superhero, the number one woman superhero. Not my personal favorite, but and guess what? We've had great women superhero performances. Scarlett Johansson has been a great Black Widow, Black Widow. And Margot Robbie slayed Harley Quinn. Like that was so out of the park, perfect as Harley Quinn. So
and we also had a great performance of Jessica Jones by Kristen Ritter.
Yes, we did. And that's the shit. And I hope. It is my hope that Carol Danvers can be kind of like Jessica Jones, not as jaded, kind of like a funnier Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones was pretty funny, but she was also an alcoholic and dark.
She was dark. Yeah.
So this girl in Scott Pilgrim was great. So, and she was funny. So I think she can pull off funny, and I think that's really important to pull off the humor.
So getting back on track of what we're going for news wise, we also had the trailer for War of the Planet of the Apes drop as well. I liked it except to the point where they brought in the antagonist, which was Woody Harrelson, and I think he was totally miscast. He was cast in a like Matthew McConaughey general kind of role, and unfortunately, I mean general like army general kind of way that Matthew McConaughey has played before, and all I saw was Woody Harrelson like playing I don't know, pothead, that kind of thing.
It's a parody. Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's the trouble. A lot of times you get great actors who you get them to act in something that they are diametrically opposed to. Like Woody Harrelson's a famous pacifist, and so you make him a general. But a lot of times that works out really well, because great actors can act.
rise to the occasion. Yeah.
Woody Harrelson, it looks like a parody. And like I told you earlier, I have the problem I have with these movies is they focus too much on man being the bad guys. And I'm not really a big fan of man being. I'm not interested in seeing the desecration of my fellow human beings, and we're all bad. And so I'm rooting for the apes to kill all the humans. No, I just can't get behind that. And I know it's just me, but I don't dig that. And it's also wrong. It's also completely wrong from the original Rod Serling version of Planet of the Apes, which was the apes evolved and took over after stupid humans killed themselves. Now, I know these apes are enhanced by science. And that's another thing that kind of takes away from it, because it's always insinuated that the apes got their intelligence on their own. I mean, we had Caesar.
They mutated. They mutated from the radiation.
From the radiation, but it's still an evolution. Okay, it's not it's not man making the apes smart. That kind of takes away from it, and it's
they went off the Tim Burton movie. And they took away from the worst of the Tim Burton movie and made this version. And I think that was just the only thing they had the rights to. They couldn't go back and do something more similar to the Chuck Heston movies.
Or it was just a bad producer decision. I don't know. I that Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie, I will always say that Tim Roth put in such a great performance in such a dud movie. He was so freaking good in that movie. Kind of like Margot Robbie and Suicide Squad. It's just like somebody who brought their freaking A game when everybody else brought their lawn chairs to count their money.
Well, it's also who plays the Lannister in Game of Thrones? The small man. I can't remember his name now. Dinklage. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Yeah.
Peter Dinklage is in the movie Pixels. Horrible fucking movie. And if you watch him, he's acting in it. He's acting in a different movie entirely. Completely different movie.
Well, he was the one actor there, by the way.
Yeah.
Dinklage is the shit. So yeah, I don't know. I have not seen any of them in the theaters, and I don't think I ever will. I don't know.
I've seen them. They're not too bad. I've one with but other than that, I mean, I'm they're more popcorn movies for me.
Well, movies are in bad shape right now, and let me tell you why. And John and I talked about this briefly. Is I got a coupon in the mail for Cinemark. What Century? What's downtown at the Moscone, and not at Bloomingdale's, and it was a coupon for movie tickets. It's something I've never. I mean, I've gotten them like at work. You can get like free coupons for movie tickets, but I've never gotten a mail-in like it was a mail-in coupon from a grocery store. Basically, you get a ticket free if you buy one, and it's a mailer. I've never freaking seen it, and they made movie theaters like entire theaters with like these giant Barca loungers now. And, for one, you should have been doing this shit 20 years ago, movie theaters. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble. I mean, all other than a Marvel and a Star Wars movie, everything's down. Everything's down. And
Yeah, there's a theater nearby here that Hazard Center Theater,
yeah.
Ultrastar, and the only reason why I go to that one is because the prices are actually reasonable for a first run movie. I went and saw Doctor Strange there for $8.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's 90s money right there, man. $8.
Exactly.
Oh my God, $8. I long for the day of $8.
And I mean, I'm talking about the big cushy chairs that had the Barco loungers, all that kind of stuff, surround sound, everything. But yeah, I mean, it's. I was looking at the prices. I actually just went there today. I saw Office Christmas Party.
How is that?
It hits and misses. It really does. And there's some funny stuff, but I mean, the story is just all over the place, just everywhere. But it has its moments. I was looking at the prices of the popcorn and the drinks and stuff like that. It was like $5.50 for a small drink.
Yeah.
$8 for a popcorn. I think it was like $10 for some nachos, which was basically a tray of chips with some, fake imitation cheese spread over the top. And I'm like, really? You guys are trying to charge that much for $10 or 10 cents worth of popcorn? You're charging $8.
It's gonna. Hey, sooner than later, first run movies are going to be. They're going to be on demand. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sooner than later. And speaking of a movie, we will be talking Star Wars Rogue One against Dennis's better judgment. That is coming this week. And the hype is decidedly way down from last year. Yes, I see. Rogue, where'd you get that?
I actually went to this little meetup thing. It was a nerd group, and so Disney was actually sponsoring it, and they had a bingo thing. Like, you go around, and it's an icebreaker for nerds, basically, to just mingle. And so you basically ask people questions like, they had questions like, who's been to Comic-Con 5+ times, who has more than 100 comics, that kind of thing. So you write, you get people to write down their name on the bingo spaces. And when you get a bingo, you go over and you get a prize. So I got a hat. They also had a bag. And then I got a poster over here, and I got some stickers, or tattoos, I should say.
You got a hat of a movie you hate.
It was free.
You've even seen it. You might like it. Hey, we're hoping. We love Gary Whitta, and I'm going to have that video out, by the way. That's what I'm working on tomorrow.
Yeah, they said a third
Gary
of it was
Whitta video.
reshot.
A bunch of it's been reshot. Yeah, they said it was too violent.
Yeah, that it was
bummed.
I was kind of bummed about it too. When I heard it was really violent, I'm like, hey, we might have another Empire. And then they're like, oh, we reshot a third of it. Oh, really? Come on.
Yeah, they're gonna big surprise on this one, man. I think of course it's gonna make a ton of money, but I think this thing will be out of the theater. I made this prediction with John, and I hope I'm wrong. I do for Gary Whitta's sake. I hope this one does better than Force Awakens, to be honest with you. But I think it'll be out of the theaters in 2 months.
Well, you got to remember, George Lucas didn't like The Force Awakens, and this one he actually saw it, and I guess he called the director and told him that he enjoyed it, which he said he's going to take that phone call with him to his grave.
He will. Yeah, he will. So George Lucas didn't like The Force Awakens. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did not. He didn't say it was bad. He just said it was okay, is what he was saying. He really didn't. He didn't say anything more than that. That it was okay.
So we agreed with George Lucas.
Unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've gotten way off of Ash versus Evil Dead here. Hey, it was a great show. We're going into the news. So we're gonna be doing a we don't want to chew up all our news because we're going to be doing a fireside chat here pretty soon.
Oh yeah. All right. I'll end that news then at that point.
And there's other stuff to talk about, and I want to hear John's opinion on it too. But
what's going on with our care package?
Our care, well, we're waiting. We've got comments. We will be announcing our winner at the end of the year. That's like I said, winners. We're going to have 30 of them. And you have to watch our Comicopolis, podcast part two. And it's somewhere in that podcast, I make a reference to the person who pitched the Inhumans movie. I make a motion. You need to tell us what the motion is. Next time we do it, we're going to do something way easier than this. But also, you don't have, if you want to like bypass that, subscribe to our iTunes and leave a review. Leave a 5-star review, and that way you can avoid that whole listening thing, or you can listen. We'd like you to listen to all of our stuff, and you will receive a Comic Outpost variant, Avengers Assemble #1, Spider-Man #1, which is going to go up in value, ladies and gentlemen. It is the first meeting of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, and a Amazing Spider-Man 666 Comic Outpost variant. These are all very rare. There's only 300 of each in existence due to a flood. So, and I'm giving 30 of them away. They are currently going for between $30 and $60 on eBay each. So, keep listening, and we will give those away. You can leave comments on our YouTube channel on any video telling us what that motion was, or you can subscribe to our iTunes and leave a review. You got to give us a name, though. You got to put that name in there so we can contact you. If you do leave a review and want to contact us, you can contact us at nerdrotics@gmail.com, or you can direct message my Twitter, which is @nerdrotics.
It's right down below you there, actually.
Also, yes. And then like our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/nerdroticpodcast. Our YouTube is the Nerdrotic channel, and everything is at nerdrotic.com. Dennis, anything else you want to say?
I just think that Gary was the appropriate name for that little fucker that came out of
fucking A.
You're not going to live that one down for a while, man.
God, man. God damn it. Fuck you, Dennis. Take us out, man.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
And may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Bye-bye, America.
Good night, everyone.